Hello and welcome back to the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Ferguson, writer for UCLA on SI. Today we're going to be breaking down UCLA versus Indiana. It was a very tough game for the Bruins. They did not come out on top. They lost 98-97. Not a good game for UCLA when all things are considered. A loss is a loss, and now their season is starting to look a little rough. But before we get started, I do want to thank everyone who is listening right now. It means a lot to me. And I hope you guys enjoy what I am doing here. But to start off, kind of going over some broad general stats for the Bruins. UCLA shot 39%, 32% from the three-point line, 88% from the free throws. They had 10 turnovers, 46 rebounds. We'll get into that later. 22 second chance points, 8 bench points. Over on Indiana's side, they shot 42%, 32% from the three-point line, 82% from free throws, 11 turnovers, 40 rebounds, 13 second chance points, and 27 points off the bench. So the biggest thing that sticks out when you kind of look at what went right for UCLA, just from a stat perspective, there's obviously a lot of things in the game that the stat sheet does not tell. But it really seemed like it was a game of bench points really taking over. That depth that UCLA is lacking right now is starting to become a massive issue. I know Jamar Brown logged some good minutes. I believe he logged 28 minutes in this one. Brandon Williams 16. Jamerson only logged 1. And Eric Frenny did not log a single minute in this one. He was on the bench. So it's not looking good for the Bruins depth-wise. They're really going to need Sky Clark back. Donovan Dent had to play 50 minutes, a complete double overtime. He saw the buzzer 3 times in this one. So, again, we knew coming into this one that depth probably was going to be an issue, right? UCLA's guards are getting tired, and they just had to play 50 minutes. Trent Perry also played a lot of minutes. I believe he played 43. So that just kind of, to sum up things, that what went wrong for the Bruins, it was their depth, right? Now compare that to Indiana's side. Sicily, he was the game winner. He logged 15 minutes, but when 3 Indiana players fouled out, you thought that the coffin was closed on them. But no, they still fought in that game, and they were able to win in overtime. So that's kind of where the biggest difference for UCLA was. Indiana has more depth compared to the Bruins, and that depth matters when you're playing double overtime games. We saw Bilodeau kind of foul out. Daly got into some foul trouble. But when Bilodeau went out, we were relying on Jamar Brown to kind of fill in that role, and Jamar Brown wasn't shooting the ball good. He hit a 3 early in the game, and we thought, okay, we're going to have a good game from Brown here. But no, I think he went 1 for 6. Bilodeau wasn't much better, 5 for 12. He had more misses, but he had more makes. But still, Bilodeau coming out hurts. UCLA did not have anyone to kind of back him up when he was out. And that cannot happen in the future. Indiana, we knew, was going to be the biggest test for the Bruins. And overall, it should have went UCLA's way, and I'm going to tell you why. For starters, the Bruins played well enough in the first half. We saw their defense play well. I know Mick Cronin kind of spoke on that. He was still not happy with how they played. The Bruins were able to win in the first half 36-30. But again, Indiana had a crazy second half led out by Nick Dorn, who he shot 6 for 15 from 3, but a lot of those misses came in the first half. Indiana couldn't really score the ball well in the first half. As you saw, they had 30 points in that first half. In the second half, he really turned things up. But then he kind of flattened out into, the late second half and into overtime. But I still thought the Bruins did fight hard in this game. I think they ended both halves 15-4 run. I think that was the case to end off the second half to force overtime. Obviously, Trent Perry hit that massive 3. We'll kind of get back into that later. But still, I thought UCLA could have won this game very easily. Shots were starting to fall, right? I think there was like a huge span, in the middle or the kind of end of the second half, not fully end, right before. Obviously, they turned up, but they went 0 from 11. and that let Indiana go up by 10 points with, a minute 30 left in the game, right? That's not going to be sustainable against Michigan State, Nebraska, teams like that. That's not going to slide. Illinois, even for that matter. The UCLA needs to play their best basketball moving forward, and I think that starts with them calming down when it comes to shooting and making the right shots that they need to make, right? But again, I feel like a lot of this will be fixed once Sky Clark comes back. Hamstring injuries are tricky, so it could be a few weeks, if not more. But still, I really hope he is back on Tuesday against Rutgers. If he's back, that'll give UCLA, time to kind of adjust. Rutgers isn't the best team on UCLA's remaining schedule by far, but still they offer a very, a mediocre to decent opponent for Sky Clark to kind of get eased back into the lineup. Because again, when you have a lineup that's playing 50 minutes with each other, it's hard to slide in a player who is such a high volume shooter like Sky Clark. It might not mix at first, but that's why they need to get him back for Rutgers. It can't be against Michigan or Michigan State, because those are two teams that are going to eat UCLA alive. If, that is the case, Sky Clark's first game back in a while, it could get scary for the Bruins. But overall, I think the UCLA, in terms of winning this game, it really came down to two stretches in this game. Obviously, the 0-for-11 span, when Nick Dorn went crazy. Those two spots are where UCLA really got hurt, and those things are in their control, not in their control. Those are those kind of things. Nick Dorn was just hitting everything, but there were a lot of those shots where he was, left open. 26 points. You can't let anyone score more than 20 if you hope to win a game, especially in the Big Ten, because the talent overall is crazy. They also let Lamar Wilkerson get hot kind of in overtime. I noticed he was the biggest, difference maker or scorer for the Hoosiers in that kind of time in overtime. Made a lot of clutch baskets, lead taking shots, game tying shots. Whatever it was, Wilkerson was there, especially when Nick Dorn kind of cooled off. But kind of looking at individual performances for the Bruins, I thought Trent Perry played, decently well. 25 points, 6 from 16 from the field, not good. Also kind of contributed to that 0-for-11 span UCLA went on, where they ultimately, were trying to dig themselves out of a hole. 3 for 6 from field. He hit that 1-3 to kind of send the game into overtime. I thought that was easily the best shot. I'm a pretty objective fan. I know I'm saying this with a UCLA quarter zip on, but still, that got me pumped up. I was excited for that. And I thought that momentum was going to be used to kind of win the game for the Bruins in overtime. It should have, but again, we'll kind of get down to some of the other players who kind of prevented that. 7 rebounds. That was just amazing for Perry. We saw some players on UCLA drop in rebounding, go up in rebounding, but I thought Perry with 7 rebounds, less focused on facilitating, but getting the boards was essential in UCLA out rebounding the Hoosiers 46-40. So that was awesome. Xavier Booker, he really took a step back. We saw how good he was starting to play defensively. He was, dominating in the paint for a very long time, in that 3-game win streak against Purdue, Northwestern, and then, sorry, I'm blanking on the last team. Geez. But during that 3-game win streak for the Bruins, I thought that was really good. Oregon, sorry. But yeah, he was really good at dictating the paint. I thought that was really impressive. UCLA needed that, big man in the paint who can kind of mess things up. And I thought Xavier Booker was going to have another game, but it was clear that on the other end, Reed Bailey, 24 points, 6 for 7, 12 for 13 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds. He was kind of torching Booker in that game. He fouled out later, but still, it was just a clear mismatch across the board. Like I said, 7 points, 2 rebounds. He played 32 minutes. That's going to be taken into account when, Sky Clark comes back. I thought UCLA, with how Booker was playing, would run that, 2-guard, Dent, Perry, and then swaps Sky Clark in and out. or, vice versa. Dent, Clark's, swap in Trent Perry. But now it seems like UCLA will most likely go back to that 3-guard lineup, especially if, they feel, or that like more mobile lineup, where you have Bilodeau at the 5, Daly, and then those 3 guards. So still, I wanted to see more from Booker from this one. He didn't really show up. 2 personal fouls. Mick Cronin was critical of how physical he was. I don't think he was that physical in this one whatsoever. He had a few blocks, which I thought was nice, but still, he struggled overall. Donovan Dent. Now, this is an interesting one. 24 points, 8 for 23, 8 from 11 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 11 assists, and he would foul out on the last play of second overtime. But anyways, I thought Dent played great, especially in that overtime. You could see kind of a switch flick where he would, be way more aggressive in the paint and kind of tear things up. I thought that was impressive from Dent. That is not a player we saw. That 8 for 23, that might look ugly on paper, but still a lot of those, misses came in the first half when, both teams seemingly had a lid on the, the basket. But overall, I thought Dent played good. Still, I want to see him shoot the ball better. Obviously, he kind of goes for layups, which, his 8 for 23 doesn't really tell the whole story. He was at the line 11 times. So he was still getting points off of his misses. So I thought, again, that was, impressive for Dent. Getting to the line, that obviously was huge in getting Indiana in a lot of foul trouble. Moving on, Eric Daly Jr. He's a player who I felt like kind of also took a step back prior to this game. I think he was averaging 8.5, 7.5 rebounds in that, win streak against Northwestern, Oregon, and then Purdue. But yeah, 6 for 11. I thought his shooting was good in this one. Especially in overtime. There's a lot of times where he came down, in that second overtime, he was able to score a basket to, give Indiana the, put the ball in Indiana's court where they could kind of come down. I thought UCLA should have won after that, but still, it didn't happen. 6 rebounds, again, step back. He played 41 minutes, 4 fouls. So again, that much playing time, only 6 rebounds. You kind of get where I'm going. Next is Tyler Bilodeau. And again, I know I've said this about a lot of performances, but Bilodeau really disappeared, and it was not fun, right, when he kind of disappeared during that time. 0 for 11. I know a lot of those shots were taken by, not UCLA's best scorers like Dent or Bilodeau, but still, he disappeared for a very long time, and he missed a lot of shots. And Bilodeau is considered UCLA's, prime time player, that player who is going to step up. We saw that against Purdue, Arizona, Gonzaga. He had 20 in those games. He had 18 in this one, fouled out, but still he had 11 rebounds, which I thought that was awesome. He kind of picked up the slack for, Booker and Daly. Still, I felt like Indiana felt like they got a lot of confidence and were able to win in overtime because he fouled out. And another critique about, Bilodeau's game was that he really struggled to offensively. Not just shooting wise, obviously, but, the offensive fouls. I believe Daly, he made a shot in overtime that gave UCLA a 2-point lead or tied it, either one. But it got taken off because of an offensive foul from Bilodeau. I think he had 2 offensive fouls in this one. And that's just not going to be winning basketball, especially if you're Tyler Bilodeau, the guy who's supposed to add points, right? Not take them away. So, again, 18 points, 11 rebounds. You can't really complain about that. Still, I would have liked to see more scoring and, him kind of be more disciplined on the foul side of things. But to kind of round out the list, I guess we could talk about Jamar Brown. 1 for 6, 5 points, 3 personal fouls, 8 rebounds. His rebounding was good in this one, but still, his shooting really hurt UCLA. In that 0 for 11 run, Jamar Brown really did struggle to kind of get his shots to fall. And he was taking a lot of the shots for UCLA, which I don't want to see. I don't think Mick Cronin wants to see. I don't think anyone in Bruin Nation wants to see. He can't hit a 3-pointer, in every game, but when he's taking, 4 3-pointers, it's not going to be sustainable. Jamar Brown is a good player, but he's not a scorer. That's why we need to see more from Bilodeau and Dent. We can't really see Jamar Brown taking most of UCLA's shots late in the second half because the Bruins are simply not going to win if that continues to be the case. But that's all I really have today. UCLA will go up against Rutgers next on Tuesday. I think that is going to be, again, I think this game ultimately kind of really did put a damper on UCLA season, but I think Rutgers could be a chance to kind of get that momentum back, before they play that, Washington, Michigan, and then Michigan State. I think a win against, Rutgers, a convincing one. I'm not looking for 20 plus points here, maybe 10, 15, whatever. But it needs to be done in a defensive fashion, whether that is them scoring or Rutgers scoring 54 and UCLA scoring 64. We need to see more effort on the defensive side, so we can carry that momentum later on into the season, because that's going to be the make or break for the Bruins. We know they can score when they want to, but again, the defense is going to be, the pinnacle of UCLA's success this season if they're able to accomplish that. But overall, I thought it was a hard-fought game for sure. Could have gone UCLA's way, controversial call out there at the end to kind of let Indiana inbound. Then it was fouled. Mick Cronin said they went over that play 5+ times in practice or whatever. If you listen to his post-game brief, you can tell he was pretty fired up about that defensively wise. But still, I thought it really came down to the little things, and I thought UCLA missed up on those. Like I said, Bilodeau's offensive fouls, just missing shots in that second half made it really difficult for the Bruins to kind of mount any kind of comeback in this one, or not comeback, but mount any long-term success. But still, UCLA does need to turn the ship around soon. But that's all I have today. Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Andrew Ferguson, and as always, fours up and have a good day.